Hello. How you doing, Anne? All good?
Very well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. It's been a couple of weeks. I know you streamed last week with Jazz, didn't you? And Doug was with you as well. I was not around, but yeah, I feel like it's been
It
a few
feels
weeks.
like an eternity since then. I genuinely didn't realize that was last week. It's
You
like
went
that was like a
over.
month ago, surely.
I mean, to be fair, I think it has been a month since me and you were last on the stream, or a few weeks at least. I wasn't around over half term, and I wasn't around last week for many various reasons. So much going on these days. We're very busy over at Code Zone, at the Code Zone. All very busy. So, last week's game, I think we've got a couple of games actually this week because we've got some Pie Club ones from last week, we've got a few custom ones, we've got Cat Club games from last week, and then I think I've got a couple actually that are from a couple of weeks ago because we never got around to showing them off and I wanted to pop them up at some point. But how do you think everyone got on with the games in last week in particular, and any of the others that I might have not been around for?
Last week in particular was a hit because I think it's very hard. I can only imagine the challenge for you. It's very hard to be original every week with every game, and this really was something completely out of the ordinary. I don't think anyone's played a game like this with us at all before, so this is fantastic.
So this is Knockout Arena. I wanted to do a sumo game at some point, but you would not believe how complicated it is trying to work out the physics of two things hitting each other and then bouncing off
Mm.
of each other sometimes. And it was just like it's silly to try and overcomplicate it so much and then make it feel really inaccessible coding wise. But instead, if you have a little ball that gets deleted the second it hits the opponent, you don't have to worry about what the ball then does because it's gone. So instead, we've got this sort of like combination of sumo wrestling and laser tag, and
I love it.
it weirdly works. I weirdly enjoyed it. I've got to say. Well, I'm glad
It kind of
everyone's. Sorry,
it, it
go.
takes me. It kind of gives you so many ideas of theme changes, and I'm thinking back to like the old Gladiators show on Sky
Oh
many
my
years
gosh.
ago.
Yeah, Wow, you're making me feel old. I remember Gladiators. Well, it used to be my dream as a child to be on a show like that or Total Wipeout, or
Yes,
do you remember like more of like a kid one was like Jungle Run, things like that, or being on Raven or something? Just any of those shows. This is making us look old, but being on any of those shows where you had to do like silly assault courses or challenges and stuff like that.
Jungle Run was a particular favorite.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely loved it. I wonder what happened to those children who got stuck inside the temple. I wonder if they've ever been
Nobody
let out.
knows, Tom. Nobody knows.
Were they ever let out? Right, so let's start with Mia's Knockout Arena from last week on the note of incredible
Yes,
changes to the aesthetic. It's a wizard and some dragons. I love this already. It's a witch and some dragons. That is so cool. And then they're firing massive fireballs. That is absolutely awesome. I love it.
it's amazing how just a few sprite changes can, well, costume changes can make all the difference. Really feel like this entirely new experience. I first played it when she made it, and I was just blown away.
That is brilliant. I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that. It's, yeah, everything has been changed. All the little assets have been changed there. And you're right, it makes it a completely different experience. She had got the power up pack as well. Absolutely, that's really good. Really pleased with that because it's added in a cool little mechanic to it and everything. That is that is excellent. I absolutely love that. Those are some brilliant changes. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that it was one of those games where it can be really like as you said, a couple of little changes to costumes can really make it like a completely different game and make it feel like a completely different game.
It's the kind of game that can be almost anything.
Mm-hmm.
Anything
Mm-hmm. And I
could be
love
on
those
it.
games because the stuff that people make, the games that the children make, are absolutely brilliant under those. I mean, it amazes me how a lot of the games have changed as they are, but when there's one like this that really opens up all the doors in every single avenue, it's always absolutely fantastic. Awesome.
It's the ultimate sandbox.
Exactly. It's sandbox, isn't it? That's the sort of thing you want. So we have a couple of custom games as well and some Pi Club games. So what I'm going to do actually before we move on is I've got one from Max, who is one of our IRL people. Now, you may see it's titled Rapid Racers. We had a little racing game a couple of weeks ago. I'm sure you remember. And Max was like, I'm enjoying this, but I feel like making something else. So he stripped it bare, took everything out of it, and just off the top of his head made this little game here where you are running away from all these things and trying to avoid them. And they are all paced differently, so they follow you in different ways, and so you can get away from them more easily. And he's in one of our bug sessions, and I was just super impressed. He just did this off the top of his head in the hour he had. I was like, that is absolutely brilliant. It was incredible.
Excellent.
You've got to run away from all these giant red things. And the fact that he's gone through all of these and balanced them, so not only has he gone and he's written this brilliant script here for some movement, but he's gone into all of these different ones here and balanced them slightly differently. They've got different speeds that they move at, so you can get away from them more or less easily. I like this one that's got a little spin on it. It's a very simple little game, but I was just super like it's just a super good example of how like sometimes just getting a little bit of code out, just getting something down, you can find something really quick that is really fun.
Yeah, it goes back to what we were saying about the game jams a while ago, in that it really pushes just get it done, just get something done. And the fact that he did that in an hour, fantastic.
Exactly. There is something to be said for just writing a little bit of code and seeing what happens and just going from there. Don't get I often get quite scared by, or sometimes I'll look at it and be like, "Oh, that is a mountain to climb there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make this game that I want to make." But sometimes just writing something, you immediately go, "Oh, that's a little bit easier than I thought it was. Maybe I was being maybe I was making a big meal out of it." Hey ho. Anyway. So, moving on, Perseus has made a tug of war game that you wanted to show.
Now, this I saw it pop up on my like history of projects I've looked at, and I couldn't wait to send this over to you because
so can I use
to hurt your forearm.
Okay, can I use the spacebar or the mouse? What's the controls?
If I remember correctly, it's the spacebar.
Okay. We ready? Ready? 3, 2, 1. Right.
And now we can watch Tom struggle for the next. Oh, I think you need to click as well to start. There we go. We can watch Tom struggle for the next few seconds because I'm sure it may be difficult for him to talk. I have never done it before.
There's a hole in my desk.
Let's just say that he balanced it since the last time I play it. Let's pretend that happened.
There's a hole in my keyboard now. The space key is broken. I punched straight through the keyboard.
I swear it's taken me about 3-4 times as long to do it at my fastest.
What can I say, Anne? I'm just a pro gamer.
Oh boy. I was really hoping to get much more Tom entertainment out of that.
Sorry, do you want me to do it? Hang on, I'll do it really badly just to make it feel better.
Tend to struggle.
Oh no, I'm finding this so hard. Ant, you're so much better at games than me. I'm really struggling. Oh no, oh no. This is so hard. I might not win. Oh no. Oh no. You feeling better now? All good?
A little bit. I've got that emotional boost that I needed for the day.
Okay, moving on before I hurt Ant's feelings anymore. Now, this is a version of of Pro Platformer. This is Wills, I believe. And Pro Platformer is the Pie Club game we've been doing for the last few weeks. In fact, let me show it off real quick, just so everybody knows what it looks like. I have got to say, I've been having a lot of fun with Pro Platformer as the Pie Club game over the last few weeks.
Yes.
Ooh. Is it loading? Is it going to load? There we go. Yeah, it's been super, super good fun. It's a little platformer game. Jump on some ghosts and collect some coins and get to the end. But it's been... everybody's been taking it and making all sorts of absolutely brilliant they've been making new levels, new mechanics, new enemies. Like, it's just been absolutely brilliant to watch everybody change this game and like tweak it and improve it and refine it and everything. So that's the original. Talk me through Will's version. I can already see the code is very different.
In Will's version, my favorite feature that I can remember from Will's version, because there have been a lot of changes on a lot of projects, but in this one, not only do you go to a next level upon reaching the end, but once you're in the next level, he's been working on kind of, I kept referring to it as the Doom Room. I'm not sure if that's what he wants to call it, but it was going to be like a room where you get locked in, and there's going to be an onslaught of enemies.
Oh my goodness!
And I just think
he's doomed. He's doomed. Okay.
It's been such a joy to see him kind of take on the lessons from the last few weeks since he joined, and working with event listeners and collisions, and just making something completely new out of this game, and something not insignificant at all.
Yeah.
And it's been an absolute joy, really.
Okay. I mean, I can already see, based on the code, that this has been changed a lot. This game has like doubled in size, so this, yeah.
And Pro Platformer again has been such a hit because it's combined so many of these concepts that the guys and girls have been playing with for the past, I don't know, weeks, months. It feels like weeks, but I think it's months at this point. And yeah,
nice.
It's been fantastic.
Seamlessly into level 2. Oh, and then we've got some tough platforming there. Oh, and then we get locked in. That is brilliant. I love that. That is absolutely brilliant. We were talking yesterday about the idea of...
Room.
Nice. We were talking yesterday about the idea of having sort of levers and triggers and stuff like that. Where you then where you can go into rooms, and where you go into, you got to unlock areas, or you get locked into areas and stuff like that. That is absolutely brilliant. I am super impressed with that. I love that. And the thing,
tile maps, so cool.
They are genuinely. I find it's been so fun working with tile maps and doing things like this in this engine. I know that makes me sound so phenomenally nerdy, but I really, really enjoy tile maps in this game engine. I think they're absolutely brilliant.
I think they just open so many doors of like opportunities of like fairly simple code. So like you'll overlap with a certain tile and you trigger a whole bunch of events. Yeah. Or pathfinding is a possibility thanks to the tile system. It's just amazing.
Exactly. What it does is it makes like the overhead for making a really cool game a lot smaller, so you can spend your time on making something that is really cool and has some really meaningful bits of code in there, some really interesting logic, some really worthwhile coding concepts, and the boilerplate, as you might call it, or like that overhead, that general effort that you've got to put in at the beginning, because the boilerplate for making a tile map game is actually really small. That bit of code you have to rewrite every time is actually fairly small. Like the effort to take it from something that is a good bit of code to making it a really, really fun game is a really good level. So you can make something really fun, but it's really worthwhile at the same time.
Mm.
That's what I really love about it. It's I'm super impressed with this. There's loads of things going on here that are that aren't in the original version. Loads of things that have been added in, and it's nice to see he's had a look at some of the guided hacks as well and stuff like that, because they will really help with those bits of understanding and really reinforce all those coding concepts and how they get used in the game, how they get used in the games, not just the fact that this is an if statement, but how we actually using those sorts of concepts, that sort of thing. So I'm super, super impressed. Awesome. One final game to show off real quick is, now this is Dominic's. He's in one of my pie clubs, and this was his game jam, Halloween game jam. You Are the Monster project. He didn't get a chance to finish it in time for the end for when the stream was last week, so I thought I'd show it off now. But he made this by himself, pretty much. There were a couple of things I pointed in the direction of, but this is a culmination of a load of things that we've chatted about in the past and talked about and worked out how to do. And he's gone away and made this thing. So he's using tile maps again, and he's built something where basically you are the monster and you have to protect something from a load of humans. You have to stop them collecting like an item. I'm going to turn down the sound a little bit because that was a very, very, you won't have been able, I don't think you've been able to hear it, but there was a very loud noise of like this like weird reverb sound as as some of the characters spawn in.
Yeah, those mate code sounds will catch you off guard. They will get you.
They will. But I mean, look at that tile map. It's a 64 by 64 tile map. He's designed this huge tile map and this game where you've got to protect something from all of these characters, all the humans that are spawning in, and you have to use the ghost to block them and catch them.
And he's gone through the effort of making his own tiles to populate some sections there.
And he's used as well one of the things that we looked at using in oh no, if they got there in the end. One of the things we looked at trying to do in Pro Platformer was the idea of creating a specific spawn tile for a sprite. So he's made a little gravestone tile where your ghost starts at the beginning, because it's easy to place the ghost on that tile in a nice programmatical way. And the same thing goes on in here. So in Pro Platformer, we use, for example, the spawn dino or the enemy spawn or the coin spawn or whatever. There are tiles on the map, so you can kind of design, if we look at this and zoom in, you can design your level, you can place all your coins and your enemy spawns onto your tile map, and then in the code we say let's replace those tiles with the actual sprites, and that way you can do the design in here instead of having to hard code all your design in. And it keeps it, that's a perfect example of like separation of concerns and making sure everything is nice and organized and tidy. And Dominic has taken those ideas over and done it in here and set specific tiles to be the spawn points for the different things instead of hard coding in some numbers. So I'm super, super impressed.
You know, that is one that I'm very much looking forward to grabbing the link below the stream myself and having a go at.
It's a good one. It's a good one. I'm really impressed. Okie dokie. I think that's about all we've got time for today. We will be back next week. What's the game been this week? What have we been doing?
The Tamagotchi nostalgia fun time. That is, what was it like?
My Pet
Monkeys?
My Pet Monkey?
Pet Monkey?
Yeah. I completely forgot.
Where did I get Pocket from?
Because you put like a Tamagotchi in a pocket, or Pocket Monsters, or things like that. I must admit, I completely forgot a second ago what the game was this week. My brain went completely blank.
You've been busy. Tom has been busy.
I compartmentalized. The second a game is done, I'm like, that's never going to be thought about again. That's not true. Because I literally ran a club with that game last night. I'm tired. I'm tired. It's fine. But no, we'll be back next week. We'll look at My Pet Monkey. And there's an interesting game as well that's going to be that's a game I'm doing this week, but next week's game is going to also be an interesting one, which you'll find out about later in the weekend, I'm sure. So we'll be back next week with some more stuff. Thank you very much for joining me, Anne.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you everybody else for joining. Take care. I'm back next week. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.